Hey YouTube, I'm Electric Lord 3. Let's talk platformers. The game genre of platforming has always been arguably my and many other people's favourite genre in gaming, and for good reason. The bright and colourful landscapes, interesting, funny, goofy characters, fun and easy to grasp gameplay. I mean, it was a platformer that saved the video game industry single-handedly, so that within itself is enough to show how immensely fantastic this genre is. As you can imagine, it's hard to pinpoint my list down to 10 choices, so bear with me. I am also sticking with the one game per franchise rule, including within the honourable mentions. Let's not waste any more time as I have a lot to say. Number 10, Yoshi's Island. Anyone that has played this game will know exactly what I mean. This game is almost perfect as far as 2D platformers go. It has its own beautiful and pleasant art style, a unique and well-suited soundtrack, fun and original gameplay, and it's just generally very good indeed. Swallowing enemies and pooping them out into eggs just to throw at more enemies is so satisfying. Everything in this game blends together so well, and for that alone it has to make it on my list. Number 9, Ratchet and Clank. I was having trouble deciding whether I wanted Ratchet and Clank 3 or the first one on this list, but I eventually went with the first one. What made this game stand out at the time was the amount of content this game has to offer. The storyline was fun, the characters were unique, and Ratchet and Clank had an interesting friendship. And it just had so much to offer in terms of expansive worlds, secrets, collectibles, puzzles, weapons, anything you can think of for a platformer was probably in this game. The soundtrack never stood out to me, sadly, which is disappointing for a platformer game, but it wasn't bad by any means. I haven't actually played this game very much, so I would like to play it some more soon. Number 8, Kirby's Epic Yarn. I have always loved the concept of the Kirby games. This simple as Christ cute character design, inhaling and spitting out his enemies to steal their abilities, was just such a simple yet very charming and unique idea. Despite my love for that concept in Kirby, and how much I loved the SNES Kirby games and Kirby Adventure Wii, my favourite Kirby game has to be the one that completely removed that lovable concept, Kirby's Epic Yarn. I have never had as much fun with a Kirby game as I have with this one. The game had a charming and cute design, and instead of inhaling enemies, Kirby would whip them into balls and throw them at other enemies, or larger enemies that he couldn't grab. The gameplay was addictingly fun, and the boss fights were great and satisfying. Although if I have one person come to me complaining about how the game is too easy, I'm gonna snap their neck. The game is very easy to complete, but that isn't where the challenge lies. The challenge lies in collecting all of the collectibles and actually keeping a hold of all the gems you collect throughout the levels. Tell me the game is easy after trying to 100% it, bitch. Number 7, PacMan World 3. It does feel extremely odd putting a bloody Pac-Man game on this list, but PacMan World 3 is an experience that is truly great. I have never played the first game on PlayStation 1, but I have played 2 and 3. While I admire PacMan World 2's amazing soundtrack and colourful visuals, number 3 had to scrape onto the list instead because of nostalgia and gameplay. Who would have thought Pac-Man could be such a badass? His new 3D design looks awesome, and I loved how this game added simple but very satisfying melee combat. The levels were expansive with lots to collect, the voice acting was surprisingly decent, the story was pretty good and also kind of funny with some pretty humorous one-liners throughout the game, and overall the game was just brilliant and unfortunately extremely underrated. Number 6, Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes is one of those Sonic games you either love or hate. I happen to love it. Okay, so my choice is mostly fueled by nostalgia, but hey, whether it's nostalgia or the great gameplay, I still very much love this game. The soundtrack was great, and being able to switch between 3 characters from each awesome team was a very nice touch, with one character focused on speed, one focused on strength, and the third focused on flight. It was very well done to give a feeling of teamwork despite being the only one holding the controller. The only problem is the levels were long as Christ and sometimes drag on far too much to the point where I just want to stop. Besides that, it's easily my favourite Sonic game. Number 5, I Ninja. I have so many fun memories with this game, and it really bums me out that it's as underrated as it is, and even the most hardcore gamers that I know haven't even heard of this game. It's sort of a mixture between platforming and a simple hack and slash, but it blends really nicely with pleasant visuals, funny characters and dialogue, interesting level design, and a truck ton of challenge that had me quite literally crying when I was younger. If you can dig out a copy of this on eBay or something, it's definitely worth a try. Number 4. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. While this game wasn't as underrated or unknown as iNinja, it's still very underrated and I never really got why. It never did anything revolutionary, but what it did very well. Hearing the Tasmanian-y, Australian-y accents was always satisfying, and throwing boomerangs in those lizard twats' faces was also very fun. The soundtrack was phenomenal and the visuals were great and really bring back the memories of the PS2 days. Number 3. Sly 2, Band of Thieves. While I do think this game is slightly underrated and overshadowed by the likes of Ratchet and Clank, I am pleased to say that this game got its fair share of praise, and that makes me happy, because it really deserves it. It's not the most vibrant in terms of colours, but it doesn't need to be. It suits the game very well. You play as Sly Cooper, who comes from a family line of thieves. However, he doesn't just steal from just anyone. The Cooper family only steal from other thieves, and that is kind of what the game revolves around. It has a great story and concept with great characters, and while I loved 3 basically just as much, I guess I have to choose one, so here we go. I picked Sly 2. The stealth was great, the soundtrack was great despite not being very memorable, and the overall experience is definitely something that a platformer fan can't miss. Number 2, Little Big Planet 2. Little Big Planet is one of the most fun, unique and creative experiences in gaming I have ever had, or heck, one of the best experiences I have ever had in my entire life. There is so much you can do in this game that I can't even list it here, but there is in-depth level building, a funny storyline and a great, for the most part, community. I loved all 3 Little Big Planet games, but I had to choose 2 as I think it's the sweet spot. Little Big Planet 1 had a great and very nostalgic feel, but for me, compared to 2, the lack of content in comparison is kind of shocking. I loved the sheer endless possibilities in Little Big Planet 3, but the game was far too short, far too glitchy, and I don't have as many great memories with it. Little Big Planet is also the franchise in which I met Super Lego Madness, which led me to meet people like Perk Productions and many more. So to say this game has impacted my life would be a huge understatement. Number 1, Super Mario Galaxy. If you know me at all, or if you have watched any of my other countdown videos, then this won't be a surprise to you one bit. But how can one not put a masterpiece like this as number 1? A fair share of lists I have seen have put Super Mario Galaxy 2 as the best, but I think I preferred number 1 ever so slightly more due to nostalgia, better hub world, and it felt more in space. However, Super Mario Galaxy 2 did have Yoshi and many other interesting game mechanics. While I do think Super Mario Galaxy 2 is how a sequel should be done and is perfect in that regard, I have to choose one. So I guess I will go with the first. Where to even begin with this game? It looks great, has the best video game soundtrack of all time, has unique and fun gameplay, controls fantastically, has the perfect amount of collectibles and secrets, and overall the game will just keep you busy for a very long time. If you have a Wii and don't have this game, chances are you're one of those people who say, the Wii doesn't have many good games, because this is by far the best game the Wii has to offer. I won't blabber on too much, but all I will say is this game is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece to the gaming industry, and if you haven't played it, you are missing out on a huge part of something really special. So there we go, an incredibly difficult list to make complete. Let me know how shite you think my opinions are in the comments below, and feel free to let me know what platformers you like as well. Thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you all later. Bye!